Hey y'all, it's Zaze. I don't know what to draw today. I want to draw something. Only thing I know is I want to do my sketch in pink paint, this one, and probably do my backwash in pink as well. And then I know I want to do a color scheme with this blue and this neon orange. I've been wanting to use this, but I'm not sure what to paint. I'm so hungry. Oh my goodness. So here I am starting my sketch off with a few guidelines. This was just to understand how I plan to draw everything. Since I wanted to draw like a scene in a bedroom, I figured it would be easier if I started off with some basic guidelines to kind of help me map everything out. So I have to make out my quadrants. So I'm gonna put my guidelines and like a base sketch in pencil. Okay, so I try to count my guidelines to make sure everything is basically even. So basically, I draw a horizon line and like a middle point line, like this is my middle point. And then from there, I would draw guidelines across horizontally and then vertically. And then I draw them diagonally all around. I hope that makes sense. So I definitely forgot to record me drawing my sketch and the beginning of my painting process. So I'm sorry about that, but this is the very start of my sketch. This is what I drew out in pencil, and I really love how it came out. Okay, I just finished the sketch. I'm a little scared to touch it with paint. I started the process by using watercolors to lay down a flat pink color and some purple for shadow. Okay, so I've added some colored pencil to it. It looks good. I'm about to go in with acrylics. And again, I did forget to record a lot of the painting process, so the next scene, the painting will look a whole lot different because I had already started painting with my acrylics. So I'm going to try something I've never done before. Here I have some neon paints. Got these a while back. I took a break from this painting for a hot minute, as always, because I can never finish painting in one go. So now that I haven't been staring at it for days on end, I can try my hand at painting on it once again. I kind of just wanted to add some dramatic lighting and then deepen up some shadows. So basically, this is just concept art for an idea of Ivy having a dream about getting her powers. And basically, after she finally unlocks her powers, she has an in-depth dream about having them bestowed to her by the earth elemental. So here, she's kind of receiving her powers. And it's just an idea. I kind of just want to make more concept art. I find that making art about the story helps me with the writing process. It's kind of like a back and forth, oscillating between writing about it and then drawing things like comic panels. So this yellow is showing up really well, but I wanted to add some orange, and I figured I would add some pink from this side as a sort of double rim lighting, but I want to make sure it seems very bright because I had an idea of really severe lighting, and this is something I would try for with my digital art, but I'm trying different things with my painting, and I just really want it to be more experimental and just make something that I think I might enjoy. I've been kind of debating about some of the storylines I have going on with the series, so everything's bound to change, but after she unlocks her powers, she kind of crashes out while at work. So she's working night shift at the portals. I won't get too much into the specifics, but basically the side effects of what happens to her after trying to unlock her elemental magic gets really crazy really quickly. I'll probably just have to post the chapter so you guys can understand what I'm talking about. After she kind of has that moment where she passes out at her job in the middle of the night, she wakes up and now she has these powers that she struggles to control, and every now and then in her dreams she'll get some advice about how to control them or how to use them properly, which she doesn't always listen to because she's just a little bit crazy. I love Ivy. Ivy is a certified crash out. When I first heard people saying crash out on the internet, I was like, what are you guys talking about right now? I was like, crash out? What do you mean? And now I can't stop saying it. I started saying it ironically, and I think that's so funny. Her powers can be really destructive. It's one of those things she didn't really have magic growing up. She has it, but she always struggled with using it properly or being able to get it to work in the first place. There's a part in the chapters that I'm currently writing where she comes back after work, or since she walks through the front door and it's 8 a.m. in the morning, because she works night shift. When she walks in the house, she thinks of her favorite pastry, which is an apple strudel, and then an apple tree literally shoots through her house. and she does not know what to do about it. I thought it was kind of funny, like stressing her out, but like it's a little bit funny. Not only that, but I think the most favorite thing I have about like her powers is that she's able to speak to plant life. I had mentioned this before on a video of mine, but in this realm, like, you know, everything is kind of witnessing something. So all the animals and all the plants, if you're able to talk to them, they can tell you things that they've witnessed. So there's trees that maybe she talks to sometimes. There's actually one very specific tree. I won't get into it very much because again, I'm still like working out the lore, but she is able to basically get information from these plants if need be. It doesn't always work, again, because her magic control is very flimsy, but sometimes she gets told things from the plants that end up helping her out. Again, this is just concept art. I haven't really gotten into the ideas too much. I'm, again, still writing, so a lot of lore is bound to change, but I really should like drop a chapter at this point because I've been so excited. Like, I don't know how it happened. It's just one day I realized I had all of these characters just because I draw and I draw and I draw, and sometimes I like to draw the same faces over and over again. And so I kind of looked back through my sketchbook and started compiling these people together to their own characters with story arcs and everything, and now I have like a full cast of characters. I've really only been talking about the same 3 over and over again. I actually have quite a few more just from the things I have in my sketchbooks and like the faces I kept drawing over and over again, and all of them have their own innate lore. I'm not really going to get into specifics about any other characters too much, but if you guys would like to hear about other guys that I'm working on, then let me know in the comment section down below. And if you're enjoying this video so far, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Well, let's get into it. Like, these ideas I've been having have just been mulling around in my head for weeks, and not even weeks, like months, a whole entire year. I've just been like writing up scenarios and thinking about things. And literally, Ivy is so cool. She's my main character. And on that note, if you guys haven't seen Swarm, go watch it. What's his name? Donald Glover. I think he directs it, I'm pretty sure. But that show is so good just because the main character is an unhinged black woman who completely crashes out all the time. You know, I grew up on movies like Tyler Perry movies, like for example, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, and for some reason I just love that trope of like a woman of color who is just completely unhinged. Let's be honest, I don't think like there's enough representation like that, and I love to see it in media. Take a Katniss Everdeen, but make her a black woman. She's just unhinged, she's a little snappy, but she is still human nonetheless. And I guess in some case scenarios she is me, but I feel like all of my characters are a part of me or some aspect of me, good or bad. Just writing and drawing them has been a way to work out my own emotions and my own ideas, or just to process things that happen to me. So guys, I'm just gonna let y'all know right now, the series is unhinged. I'm trying not to say too much because I am, again, still working out things in the background, but I like post about it so much and I really enjoy talking about it, but I'm like in the process of getting all those storylines together because I feel like I really like unhinged media. You know, it's just a little bit crazy, a little bit horror-esque. Not that like the series is that scary or anything, but I feel like it's definitely takes inspiration from things like that. I definitely am a Stephen King fanatic. I love, what's it called, dystopian fantasy. When I tell y'all I grew up on so much dystopian fantasy, oh my goodness. And then I don't know what happened. It's just like at some point after 2016 nobody talked about it anymore. I was like, guys, where'd the fan fiction go? What happened to the fan fiction? Where's it at? There's a couple of times in my life where like I tried to write fan fiction about this is so embarrassing. Okay, so back in the day, you know, with Wattpad and a Dream. Oh god, I'm not gonna get through this. Back when I was in high school with Wattpad and a Dream, I had watched Ouran High School Host Club for the first time ever in my entire life. It was so impactful, and if you know, you know. I'm not gonna say too much about it, but if you know, you know. At some point, I decided that I was going to write a fan fiction about me being an American exchange student at the school. It was so cringe. Oh my gosh. I'm like 90% sure it's still up somewhere. But I used to do things like that growing up where I would just like I would literally get a notebook and I would sit down and I would just write a story. And when I tell you, like, I read back what I wrote in middle school, like these random short stories, and it was just so cohesive, like it was actually well written. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm an author. But with all this like extra free time I can find myself with, I just want to write something that I think I would enjoy to read. Like that's the whole reason why I started the series in the first place. I don't know if anybody else relates to this. I'm really talking to the girls right now. To the girls who own Barbie dolls and Monster High dolls and Bratz dolls. Let me know down in the comment section below if you relate. Like growing up, I would have like all these Barbie dolls because I was an obsessive Barbie girl and my parents spoiled me way too much. With all these dolls that I would have, I would just like make up stories for hours on end because I'm also the youngest child. So I would be in my house playing with my own dolls, like literally because I'm the youngest and my siblings are way older than me. Nobody wants to play dolls with you, okay? Nobody wants to play dolls with little 8-year-old Zaze. Because of that, I found myself to be quite the story writer. I would take like all these dolls and I would give them names and I would make a little cast of characters, and then I would have like a story for the day. Take like a movie I really liked, but somehow there would just be like some small details that I thought like, okay, I would write that differently. What I would do is I would play with my dolls and I would reenact the exact same movie, but then change the plot line to fit it exactly how I want. Like I would change the plot. Like I'm playing with my dolls, like I'm pretending to play Beauty and the Beast, and then I'm changing the plot line ever so slightly to how I would have written the movie. Like what is that? What do you call that? Guys, please tell me somebody relates. Like who does that? I've never met anyone else who does that. I mean, like it's not that big of a deal, but it's something I used to do when I was younger. So now I feel like Worlds Collide is just my hobby. I don't know if I released the title yet. That's what it's called, guys. In case I didn't release the title, this is the official title release, okay? The series is called Worlds Collide. I've just been like online calling it the storyline, but I've had a name for this thing for like a year at least. And I've been kind of bashful about posting online too much about it, but at this point I'm just like, you know what? Screw it. You know, if people like it, great. If not, at least I wrote something that I'm proud of, you know? And I feel like I really don't talk about my characters enough, not in depth, but I really do want to get more into their characters and their storylines. Sometimes I'm a little hesitant to talk about it because if I'm honest, I don't have all the story arcs laid out. I don't have every single character laid out. Yes, I'm working on a lot in the background, but girl, I don't have every single day to sit and like write 4 chapters, bro. Who do I look like? Colleen Hoover? Speaking of which, I actually like Colleen Hoover. Oh my god. I read so many books, and you know, when I got my first Coho book, I actually really liked it. And then everybody got on Book Talk and started like shaming her and saying how bad her books are. But like, I don't think her books are bad. They're actually really good. She just writes like a 30-year-old white woman. Oh my god, I'm gonna edit this. I don't know why people are acting like her books are bad, bro. I love Colleen Hoover, okay? Colleen Hoover, send me a list of writing tips. How do you do it, girl? But seriously, I was like in my bedroom one day and then I was on TikTok and then people were talking about It Ends With Us. I was like, you know what? I'm going to Barnes & Nobles. And I bought the book and I read it in less than a week and it made me cry a little bit. Actually, no, a little bit. I bawled tears. I sobbed at that book. Literally a week later, I go back online and people are like trashing the book so hard. I'm like, actually, is it bad to say that I like it? Again, it's just a good book. I like the message at the end. It was good. She confronted something that was extremely traumatic, and then, you know, people kind of made fun of her. And the only problem I really had with Colleen Hoover was the way that she marketed the book. But even with that, it was like so purposeful because like otherwise, what young woman is going to read a book about domestic abuse on their own? Not to get like too heavy or too deep into it, but like I actually kind of like that she marketed it that way with the book being so impactful. I don't know how I got started on Colleen Hoover in the first place, but yeah, I grew up reading a lot. Like I wasn't playing with Barbie dolls and making stories that way. I was reading stories that just really stuck with me when I was a kid, where I would just take time out of my day to write something. I had all these ideas, all these stories. So now that I'm older, I'm like, okay, well, I own a MacBook and I'm pretty good at typing, and I've digested so many books in my life that I'm trying to like regurgitate everything I've ever learned into one series. And I have so many episodes planned. Not to get too much into it, but the way I am planning to release it is as both a book and a comic strip. So basically every couple of pages of writing or so, you'll have digital comic strips to fill in the blanks, because I like picture books, and I stopped reading picture books when I was 8 years old, and that's a crime. I feel like we should normalize reading a picture book as an adult. I feel like 40-year-old people should be reading picture books. Sue me. Why is it reserved for children to read a book with pictures in it? I like pretty pictures too. You know, the last time I read a picture book, it was the Chronicles of Narnia. Can we talk about the Chronicles of Narnia? Chronicles of Narnia is literally one of my biggest inspirations, especially for Worlds Collide, because it's the exact same concept, guys. So Worlds Collide revolves around having portals. So let's get into the basic lore, because I don't think I've really told anyone about this or like said it online yet about like the starting world lore. And I feel like I should post up like a blurb or something somewhere about the basic storyline. I'll probably put it in my bio at one point or another. Don't hold me to that. So let's get into the world lore, because I have not dropped this, and again, it's something that I'm still working on, guys. Everything I say in these videos about the lore, don't take it too seriously until you read the chapters. That being said, most of it should stay the same unless it needs to be changed for like a plot hole or something. Okay, bear with me. So basically, we start the story off with Ivy, right? I won't get too into the first events that happened, but the background of the story is basically that years ago, these portals open up in this world. And again, this is a world where there's like a lot of magic and things, but when it happens, the people on the other side of the portals say like, hey guys, you mind like trading resources with us? So basically like food, water, construction materials, weapons, things like that. And they start trading. But after a while, the people on Ivy's side of the realm start thinking like, okay, well, we're trading quite a lot with you. A lot of political tension starts to happen, to the point that Ivy's side of the realm gets invaded. And it happens when she's really young, and not to be too sad, but Ivy is indeed an orphan. And that's how she gets her scar. After that, basically what happens is she gets sent to an orphanage, and while she's at the orphanage, they're being bombed. So then what happens is that they take Ivy, and this is where she meets Marcel too for the first time ever, but they take Ivy and a bunch of orphans, all these people who had been endangered from the war, and they take them and they move them across the ocean. And Ivy here has been living on the island ever since. So that being said, this war it ended a couple years ago, but the whole basis of the plot is that Ivy's entire like full-time job is to prevent another war from happening or another invasion from happening, while at the same time continuing to trade with the people on the other side of the portals, because when the war stopped, there was basically a treaty being made that they would continue trading anyways. So now she lives far from her original home, all the way across the ocean. She lives on this island, and on this island there's another portal that exists here too, because they opened up like in several places across the world. And so because of that, her whole thing is like, oh, well, I want to shut down these portals, but no one's ever figured out a way to shut them down. So instead, she's just very committed to her job of like making sure nobody ever gets invaded. I'm gonna call it like a web series for now, guys. I know I haven't released it yet, or at the time when I'm recording this video, at least I haven't released a chapter. I swear I have them, but if you guys would like some sneak peeks, just let me know. Oh yeah, I was saying that my direct inspiration is the Chronicles of Narnia. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever read the Chronicles of Narnia. You might have seen the movie, but the books, oh my gosh, I read all of them, and I read them over again. It's actually my bucket list to end up getting the books like on my shelf like permanently, because I used to go to the library and I would read that series over and over and over and over again. That was the last time that I ever had a picture book. I think I said this earlier. It's like a huge inspiration for me, and so that goes in line with what I was saying about the portals, because it's just such a cool concept that you can step into another dimension. And the whole series that I'm kind of planning out, the arcs, I don't want to get too into it, but it's gonna get messy real quick. If you like dystopian stuff, let me know, because I'm into it. I like the magic, I like the fantasy, I like the fairies. I am just really into anything that has to do with a little bit of magic and a little bit of dystopia. Worlds Collide is something I've had on my mind for so long, and oh my goodness, when I say it's so hard not to talk about it sometimes, because like in daily life lifer. It's so hard to not say like, oh, I'm just writing a comic panel in my bedroom, because I enjoy it to a point where it's like, okay, I gotta kind of catch myself about talking about it before I actually put things down on paper, because I'm so excited. Like, I'm excited about all of my characters. And again, I think I said this earlier, all of my characters are like a part of me in some way, shape, or form. Like, all their personalities, all the things that happen to them, everything that happens to them comes from something that I'm kind of unpacking with myself. Guys, I can't afford therapy, so I'm writing a webtoon. Oh god. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm like a corny 12-year-old again. Like, I literally feel like a middle schooler talking about it sometimes, or like posting about it. Like, sometimes, like, don't get me wrong, I love to post on my shorts and I'll watch it back and I'll just think that I'm hilarious. It's the funniest thing ever, Zaze. But seriously, I find it so entertaining because I feel like I'm exercising my imagination in a way that I haven't done since I was like an 8-year-old girl. And I've always been imaginative, you know, like even now, again, that thing I was saying about like playing with my dolls and changing the story, I still do that in my head sometimes. Like, I cannot watch a singular piece of media without criticizing it and saying how I would have written differently. I can't help it. I can't help it. It's like word vomit. I will go to the movie theaters with my family and then I'll get out and I'm like, guys, let's deconstruct this. Let's talk about how deep the metaphors were and whatever it is. I'm actually kind of like, I'm not really taking myself very seriously anymore with the painting. I already liked how it looked to begin with, so I'm like, whatever. It's whatever. I kind of successfully got across the vibe I was going for, so at this point I'm just like, I'm mostly still painting just so I can ramble. Like, I literally don't care to add detail to this anymore. I just cannot stop myself from talking. What am I talking about? Oh yeah, I find it really hard sometimes just not to talk about like the details and things I'm planning to put into my story, because I really just want to have it written and like, you know, reread it again to make sure I really like it before I go telling people. But I have these concepts and these ideas rambling around in the back of my mind 24 hours a day. I'm thinking about fictional people that I drew up at some point or another, and it's driving me nuts. Okay, at this point I could have 0 followers and I would still be writing. Like, I started my channel mostly as a joke, and I had some videos where I was like singing or whatnot, and I took them down because I was like, I'm not trying to like get famous for being a singer or something. But let me tell you, I love my own character. I love her so much. I created her years ago, and when I say years, I mean, how long has it been? I think I created her in what, 2021, something like that. And she's just been taking up my headspace every single day because she is me, I am her. We are the same. We are one and the same. We are the same person. I would just like to say that she's more unhinged than I am. Not really. I haven't released the amount of characters that I actually have yet because I'm trying to like figure out their storylines and understand the plot a little bit better, understand like the complexities of their character before I go talking about, here's the new person I added to the storyline, guys. And because of that, you know, I've been talking about the same 3 characters over and over again. Like, I don't have a full cast. Like, I literally have like a TV show cast. Like, oh my goodness. But outside of the main 3, Ivy, Marcel, and Cora, the main 3, I say it very loosely. Technically, Cora's the second lead and Marcel's just a side character, but I have way more characters than that I've been kind of like, you know, putting some aspects of myself into. Like, this is my baby girl. I love her. And again, these are things I've written down. I just don't want to be like telling too much about the lore. But at this point, like, if I have it written down and I plan on releasing anyways, I feel like I can tease you guys just a little bit. Bear with me, okay? I'm still like a lot in the working process between videos and writing down the lore and making drawings and comic panels. It's a lot. But I just feel like if I don't put effort into it at all, I might never like see where it goes. However, I do have other characters and I want to talk about them so bad, like right now while I'm rambling. But at the same time, I'm like, I feel like I should leave you guys in suspense. I feel like I should leave everybody in suspense. I feel like this is almost like the time to go on colored pencils. I kind of want to redefine this line right here. It's supposed to be like the plant coming down to reach out to her. I feel like this might be my new thing. Let me know if you guys like these kind of video essays while I'm painting, because I enjoy it. I have a lot of things to get off my chest about Worlds Collide, about other stupid stuff. But with the whole magic part, like Ivy, when the story starts, she's just now getting her powers, but she's like a late bloomer. Like, that's how it is. So everybody has like their powers and an elemental thing that they can do that's being taught in the schools and stuff. Well, when she was in school, when she had met Marcel and they were younger, she was like flunking her class classes because she didn't know how to use magic and she was a late bloomer. She has it. She knows that her element is with earth, but at the same time, she's not good at using it. And then Ivy gets really frustrated a lot of the time because she doesn't want to feel like she has to learn how to use it. She doesn't want to feel like dumb, basically. And Ivy's whole thing's like, well, I've never needed magic this far in my life, so I think it's kind of stupid because as soon as she unlocks it, it's like useless because she still can't control it. And now, instead of going through her life without being able to use magic at all, she's now in this position where, oh, she has it, but she can't control it to save her life. Like, she literally is just making stuff explode accidentally. I love this trope. I've definitely seen it before. I'm sure I'm ripping off like at least 3 different writers with that alone. I just really enjoy the concept. To make my point clear, I just have to like literally drop the lore and put out the comic strips already, which I'm wondering what platform I would do that on. Obviously, I'll let you guys know here on YouTube, but I'm not really sure which platform to go about doing that with. I don't really want to use like Webtoon, not necessarily. Probably put on like Patreon or something actually, but just on a website somewhere where you can read the stories and the comics, because again, building it out so like I don't have to draw comic after comic strip, but at the same time I'm writing like a book like in chapters, and then I'm supplementing some areas with comic pages. I don't know if it makes sense. I'll probably just have to like show you guys a sneak preview again. Like, I don't know, I just want to make a piece of media that I am happy with, something that I would be happy to open a book to, something that I would be happy to turn on my TV to, you know, something that I would be happy to like download on a Kindle. And it's really for me, but if people enjoy it, it does make me feel good. And again, I've had all of my characters for years, like all the ones I'm working on, I've had them ever since I started drawing, so they've morphed with me, I guess. And I had all of these ideas for them when I was younger, and those ideas have like all added up together. So many characters just from drawing. So I added a bunch of details off camera, and now it's time to do the final peel and add my signature. Anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. I post twice a week, Fridays at 7:30 p.m. and Mondays at 7:30 a.m. So be on the lookout for upcoming videos. And that about wraps it up. I'm going to sign my name. And that wraps this video up. Bye, y'all.